our beloved Friday afternoon shows, Marimar's Spanish Table. We're looking forward to this so much, like every Friday.
Yes, here we are in Mom's kitchen, coming to you live, and somehow it is June. I'm not sure how that happened, but time sure does fly. We're on our 10th episode. Can you believe it?
Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't realize that. All right. Well, today we're going to have a dish that is super Catalan, and it's really pretty simple. So I hope that you will enjoy it. Where it's called Escalivada, and Escalivada is a Catalan word that means cook over coals. No, wait. I forgot. Baked over
Hot embers.
hot embers. There you go. Thank you.
Escalivada.
So exactly.
And it's a classic summertime dish.
Exactly.
With this very classic Catalan sauce. And we will, the recipe and the links to the recipe and the two recipes and the wines are in the content of the post, either on Facebook or Instagram. So you can look up the recipes and the wines. And with that, I think we should start with a glass of Acero, our 2018.
I was thinking it just never came. It never would come. So, Acero
Yes,
means...
here's our 2018 Acero Chardonnay.
And it's not Acero or Acero or anything like that. Acero in Catalan means, in Castilian, sorry, means steel. And that's a wine that I came up with the idea in 2005 because I wanted to reflect the fruit of this gorgeous vineyard that we have, so unique, and without any masking from the oak. So of course at that time, unoaked Chardonnays were mostly insipid and cheap. So I thought, what the hell, we're gonna try it. And really it's gone very well.
Well, cheers with a glass of Acero.
We deserve it.
Okay, so
yes.
Let's talk a little more about what are we gonna cook first.
Okay, we're gonna do the Escalivada.
Okay.
And we're not gonna make it on the barbecue, as you can imagine, but we're gonna make it in the oven. And it really comes out very well in the oven. So here's the ingredients. They're too far away. There we go. So we're gonna have onions and peppers and eggplant. And these are very similar to the Catalan kind. They're narrow. Here they're called the eggplant, the Japanese variety, right? And these baking potatoes that are so good, and tomatoes, and all of this, what we've done, if you can possibly tell, it's wrapped with olive oil. So once, you want to put that over there? Once it's...
And why is this a typical dish for the summertime?
Well, because you have all the flavors of the vine-ripened tomatoes.
Because it's the season for the tomatoes and the bell peppers. So what are the typical vegetables that go in here?
Well, there you have them, potatoes and eggplant, but you really can have this with any of those or all of them. And so you can have an escalivada of eggplant and peppers only, or with tomato or with onion, or the whole thing, right? So I decided to do the whole thing. So then what you do is that after rubbing them with oil, you put them in the oven, in a 350 oven. And then it depends on the veggie that you will have different timings. Okay, I tend to break glasses. And so, and this is a lovely Romesco thingy to put it in. And so we will do that at the end. So the onion, of course, needs about an hour. And the potato, which I cut in the middle, needs about an hour as well. And the eggplant is about 20-25 minutes. The tomatoes, only 15-20 minutes. And the pepper, which is the way it looks after, I think also 25 minutes or so. I mean,
I love how the pepper just gets all like caramelized.
Yeah.
And eggplant is really, I have to say, it's my favorite.
Yeah, me too. So then with the pepper, what you do is that you go like that with your very clean hands, of course. Yes. And this is a peasant dish. And also there's some wonderful juice, if you can see, that I save for my chicken stocks. So we take out the seeds and pretty much the skin, right? But it kind of comes off by itself. And so we're gonna pick, you can see, comes out so nicely, well, or not.
Yeah.
Yes, it does. Look at that.
And I have to say, I've gotten in the habit of, I've grown up eating this dish, but I've gotten in the habit of eating skin on everything because it's got so much nutritional value and fiber and all those good things. So it's a little breaks my heart to take it off, but
She eats the skin of kiwis.
I do. Is there anyone else who possibly has tried this? Because if you wait till they're ripe enough, it's actually really quite all right, and it has all sorts of nutritional value.
Okay.
I don't think Mom is convinced though.
No, but we found one friend that does it. Anyway,
Yeah.
so you see how I'm doing it? You just do it in small strips. And then the eggplant the same, except that I forgot that I needed to, okay, we'll picture that this is, see, it just comes out by itself, like that, and like this, and you peel it, and...
I had a boyfriend who would always take the skin off of his apple every morning, and I would literally eat the apple skins.
By themselves, yeah. Yeah, well, here the dogs do that. And so anyway, here you have the eggplant peel, and you just go like this, and you put it in little strips, like this and like that, right? And then the potato, essentially, I cut it in half, and then for the onion, I don't like 2 onions, so I'm gonna do it right here. I'm gonna just show you about how this is now soft, and so you peel it, and essentially, the outer leaves don't go, but, can you pass me a knife? And essentially, yeah, this is the outer peel that is kind of rough. So you take it out, and that's it, kid. And then
it's like a
you
brand
just
new
peel it.
onion.
Yeah, and then you kind of cut it in the middle or something like that. Ooh, and it smells so good. Can you smell it? Ha, 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 ha. So can you pass me the final plate? Yes, that. And now we have, guess what? That's what
Just
it looks
like
like.
magic.
And we're gonna put here the onions, see, all kind of leafed out, or whatever that is called. And
Kind of unpeeling them, taking them out of their
exactly.
layers.
There's a word for that, but I don't remember. Oopsie doopsie.
Peeling back the layers of an onion. That's
There you
what
go.
the phrase
That
is.
that's it. Okay, so you go like that, and you put it nicely, well, just picture this being
It smells very nice.
down, so you got
Definitely the
one button.
onions.
And so you can see here everything.
And ta-da, let's see if
And
we
now
can
I'm gonna
show
look at
it
this
a
a little bit.
bit. You've got the tomato, the onions, the peppers, the eggplant, and the potatoes. There we go.
And then what you do is you pass me. I love too many things. This today is like so many things all over the place. And so you put some. Wait, you put some pepper and all over the place, and some salt, right? And some olive oil. Oh, and I have the parsley in the fridge. I knew I would forget. Thank you. It's so nice to have an assistant. And then, here we go, the salt.
And we are so happy to connect with you guys. It almost feels like as close as we can get to being in person. And we want to give a shout out, hello to Emily Russell, our fabulous team member, Rongsheng, amazing Club Marimar member, as well as Robin and Fred Hollibird, who are always cooking along with us, and Jeanette Drummelaire. Hello, Jeanette, who I learned so much horseback riding with, training with many years ago.
Oh, how wonderful. So then what we did is that we chopped parsley. Oh, no, wait, but first we want this lovely olive oil, which actually comes from our winery in Spain. It's called La Oscuridad, which means the darkness, and it's terrific. And we sell it at the winery and in some places here in the United States, but I don't know where. So essentially what you're going to do, or you're going to just drizzle with olive oil.
Extra virgin olive oil.
Absolutely.
Or Evu.
Evu? What's
EVOO.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah, she's really smart. And then we'll put the parsley on top.
It's
Pretty
onions.
simple, huh?
Yum, yum.
The onions. And
Yum. And let's see, I'm going to say a few more words about the Acero, our unoaked Chardonnay. So this, although it does not touch the oak, does not go in the barrel, it does go through 100% malolactic fermentation, which is essentially a after alcoholic fermentation. And that means that the malic acid, think of the acid in a green apple, is turned into lactic acid. So the acid in milk and in dairy products. So that the lactic acid is a lot rounder, and so it gives that roundness, almost an impression of time in oak. So it gives it more complexity.
Yeah. Many people, especially after 1 year, when this wine has kind of rested, many people have said, "Oh, I like this slight oakiness." No, not oak. And the malic acid, by the way, in the scale of acids, is the most acidic of all acids, and the lactic is the least. So
and then in between you've got tartaric and acetic. Citric.
Yeah.
I'm getting lemon, citrus notes. And the apple, the typical apple of the sea clone,
That's right.
which is primarily the Chardonnay clone that we use here. And clones are like different strains of a certain grape variety, you might say.
You know, I always compare that to roses. I mean, it's like, okay, what's a clone? Is it Pinot Noir or is it something else? No, it's the same thing, but it's like roses, it's a rose, but it can be pink or white or yellow, and it's still a rose, right?
Yeah.
So then another clone, there's two clones here. Besides the C clone, it's the Rued clone. And it's named after one of our neighbors, Paul Rued. And it really, obviously, all the clones, all the Chardonnay and all the Pinot Noir were brought over from France originally. So the idea is that people just went to France when, travel was much easier by plane. And they took cuttings from vineyards, and this one, the Rued clone, is what's called Chardonnay Musqué. So it has a little bit of that florality of Muscat, right? Does that make sense? Okay.
So, the Escalivada, we'll show it with the parsley as well. How beautiful did that come out? And what are some ways to enjoy Escalivada, how to serve it?
Okay, well, today we're going to have it as a first course with Romesco sauce, which is our second part. But the Escalivada is so versatile. You can have it all. I love it, for instance, with a grilled leg of lamb. And that you can do also on the hot coals. And I marinate the recipes in my book, but you essentially marinate it with garlic and onion and lots of herbs and vinegar and wine, of course, and so on. You let it red wine, and you let it marinate for about 3 days. Turning it over in the fridge, and it's delicious if you then afterwards bake it. And this goes really well with it, and with the Romesco. But Escalivada can also go as a first course or as an accompaniment to anything grilled.
With poultry.
With rabbit. Rabbit with Escalivada is so good. Rabbits are so good in Spain. And
on toast.
And fish, and on toast, exactly, as an appetizer with a little wonderful anchovy. Anchovy is
just
so good in
little
Catalonia.
toast, and then the Escalivada on top with olive oil and anchovy.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go on to our Romesco sauce.
Thank you very much. And we're gonna come to Romesco. So essentially, Romesco, it's a sauce that originated from, the origin is really, I think, fascinating. In the old days, the fishermen, right, in the area of Tarragona, which is south of Barcelona, and it was, of course, in the old days, fishermen's country, and so they would go out fishing, and the best pieces of fish, of course, would be used for selling it, and the not so good pieces of fish they would eat. So in order to enjoy it, they created this sauce, which is really from all the produce, the classic produce of the region of Tarragona, which is the Tarraconense.
So to kind of enhance the not so good fish that was left after selling.
Exactly, because the perfect fish you would just have by itself.
So they made it's really quite a strong flavor.
It can be strong or not. It depends on what you like. Today I chose one that's called salvichada. Don't ask me how it's spelled because it doesn't matter. But it's a sauce that is traditionally done. I'll show you how. We start with.
And I read that it started with, especially with the fish, but then people started enjoying it so much that then it became known on its own. So it was a dish that was a sauce for the fish, like a stew, and then it became really its own sauce in its own right.
She's always so much better prepared than I am. I just wing it. So it was called romescada. One day we will make that dish, romescada of fish. And so here what we've done, we started with almonds, but you can't see them, darn it. Anyway, I promise you, these are almonds. And they've been pulverized, ground. And we did that before because it's so noisy.
Well, they're toasted. The almonds are toasted though, because something for the Romesco that's very important is that kind of smoky, those smoky flavors.
And can you smell them? Can you smell them? They smell like so toasty and nice. And then here is a piece of bread that you use. We don't, none of my books uses for thickening any thickening agents like flour or starch, but we do use for the picada, which is really this, a lot of fried bread. Okay, so we put two like that in here,
and then ground,
in the food processor. So,
and there's even, I also read there's even a Romesco festival. This was in your book that you wrote about it.
That's
These are all recipes from Mom's cookbooks. This is from Catalan Country Kitchen. And there's a Romesco festival in Tarragona, and they crown the master Romesco maker every year, and it is a huge honor.
And she has a much better memory than I do. Anyway, so
got the fried bread, the toasted almonds.
Which we had earlier.
We ground earlier.
Here. And then we put some salt, right? Salt goes here, and pepper, and paprika for this recipe. And so the classic Romesco sauce has to have peppers in one kind or another, almonds or hazelnuts, and tomatoes. And then you can add many more things.
Olive oil.
Well, of course, olive oil, you're right. And generally a little vinegar. Could be sherry vinegar. No, not sherry vinegar, no. Wine vinegar. And,
so tomatoes, toasted almonds, olive oil.
Or hazelnuts.
Peppers.
Yeah. And in my book, I think I have, several, at least 6 or 8 recipes for Romesco. And one that's a classic also is the Nyora. Oh, finally I remember. Nyora, Nyora, is a pepper that is like, the closest here is like an ancho or pasilla pepper, pasilla. And it's just slightly spicy, but very, very flavorful, and it's dry. So you essentially kind of wet it first. How do you say? You soak it, and then. But this here we're using the regular tomatoes.
What about the peppers? So you're saying the pasilla, so which ones are we
Well,
using?
we're gonna put here some hot peppers. That's also peppers.
Chili flakes.
Chili flakes. But I only used an eighth of a teaspoon because I don't like it too spicy. I like to, to not kill any other flavors. So these are the Spanish roasted
pimentón,
peppers.
right?
No, pimientos.
Pimientos.
Pimentón is paprika. Pimentón is paprika. And so we put them here. And they come in a jar, and they're from Spain. Spanish ones are the best ones, I promise. And then we put some tomatoes, essentially, which been cut up just so that we put it here. And now comes the noise, okay?
Okay.
So,
well, first we have guess who we have tuning in? Lindsay Doyle, who had worked harvest and sorted grapes for us.
Oh, yay!
And then we also have a question from Rong, who our beloved club member, Club Marimar. Have you ever aged the same grapes in oak and steel and then compared them to each other?
Sure, yeah, because the Chardonnay La Masia, our classic Chardonnay, the same as
Our barrel fermented.
Is the same grapes.
The same grapes in the same vineyard as the Acero.
Yeah. And it's really fun to compare them.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah.
Okay, so noise coming up.
Okay. All right, and next we have our second wine is our 2017 Chardonnay Albariño. Let's see if that is a little more visible. And this is a club exclusive wine, which you now have access to temporarily. Okay.
That's it.
Okay. And so the Chardonnay Albariño is a 60% Chardonnay, 40% Albariño blend. And the origins of this wine are actually because when we first planted the Albariño, the first vintage, we had a very limited quantity, not enough to fill a tank. And
I had been waiting ever since 2004. I brought the cuttings over from Spain in 2004, planted them in our cooler vineyard because in Galicia, the northwesternmost province of Spain, it's very cool, but cool compared for Spain. But here it was too cold and it didn't ripen. So we had to take the cuttings after 3 years and grab them onto the rootstock in here.
Yeah, so let's see. So the first vintage of the Albariño was not quite enough for a full tank, for a full press load. And so we blended it with the Chardonnay and just gave it to our club members. And then the following vintage, 2010, we had enough Albariño, and so we didn't make the blend. And our club members missed it so much and reclaimed and made it very clear that they were enjoying the wine. So we remedied that mistake and have been producing it every year since 2011.
That's right.
So you have the Albariño, as Mom says, from Galicia, from northwestern Spain, which is a very aromatic grape.
Oh, yeah.
And it is, I think it really gives that floral aromatic elements here.
She describes the wine so much better than I can. She asked me to describe the flavors of the Escalivada, and I said, well, it's wonderful flavors and really strong flavors. But Mom, describe. No. She has the WZ3. She's the one who knows about flavors and aromas, right?
Well, I don't know. I think most people would say that you know a lot about flavors and aromas. But so the Albariño really gives that aromatic floral element, and it has nice bright fruit and really nice crisp acidity.
And the Chardonnay gives it maybe a little more ending, huh? It's really,
a little more fullness. So there's no oak here either.
Right.
So these are both great wines as an aperitif with a first course.
Okay, so now we're going to add some vinegar. We are going to add the Torres wine vinegar called these names are so funny. The olive oil is El Silencio, the silence. And this one is the darkness, la oscuridad. Isn't that great?
Very
dramatic. We're gonna put the vinegar, and now we're gonna put this much olive oil, and let's very slowly, so that it gets assembled. Okay, and we're done. It's really easy. So, let's see, we're going to taste it. Look at this spatula. My daughter gave it to me a year or so ago, and it's great because you put it, let's see, here, you see, and it never touches the bottom.
It's very handy, very handy. Very. So you're not getting everything dirty.
That's right, and we're going to taste this. Right?
And we have also Deborah Ramos tuning in. Hello, Deborah. Thank you for joining us. Always so good to have you. And Samuel Way, all beloved club members. And Sharon Piper, the Pipers have tuned in. So good to have you.
That's much fun. Yesterday I said happy birthday to a young woman who's delightful and lives in Massachusetts. And she said that she's been following all the cooking shows. And so, so anyway, Jane. Hello, Jane, if you're watching.
Let's take a try.
Not bad.
Oh, yum.
Not bad.
It's really quite a rich, hearty sauce. And with that smokiness from the toasted almonds and the peppers and really, really nice.
Yeah, and it will go really well with this Escalivada, I promise.
Shall I bring that?
Yep, and I will put this in
let's
here.
Let's try those.
Okay.
And so you said that Escalivada is kind of like paella in that you can prepare it in many different ways, different regions.
Well, more than anything, well, there's only one region, Catalonia, that makes the real romesco, right? But there's as many recipes for romesco as there are cooks, which is what I always say about paella, right? You can make as many different paellas as you like. And like I wanted to make the squid with wing ink paella, but Christina said, well, most people will not like it. So please give us your feedback. Would you like me to make a squid ink paella? So one of these days, it's really good. And then another one that's so unusual, it's the fideuà. Fideo means
Noodle.
Noodle, thank you. And so it's made with noodles, and it has a story, but we don't have time to tell you. If we make it, I'll tell you about it.
And so you also told me that it's best to make it ahead of time, right?
Oh,
the
yes.
romesco?
Romesco, absolutely. You really want to make it the day before and let it rest. Let all the flavors kind of concentrate. But this, no.
Okay, well, let's try.
Which you want? Which shall I give you?
Boy, I think just
A
let's
little
try.
of this.
Yeah.
A bit of pepper. Okay. And a little bit of...
Oh, the eggplant. And I think the escalivada really, the olive oil and the salt really enhances the flavors of the veggies, but it's really all about making the veggies shine. And let's see with the romesco.
And let's see which wine we like it with, if any.
Oh, yum. It's really, the romesco, you get that hearty, the depth of flavors, and it's a beautiful terracotta color.
Yep,
We need
yep,
to
yep.
show, let's
Yes.
see.
Yes, absolutely.
Put a little bit in here. And how is the romesco served? How is it enjoyed?
Oh, with anything and everything. I always say you can have it with fish, with meat, on your fingers, on your toes, on your nose, whatever, right?
So you got that beautiful terracotta color, which is also the color of the little
Yeah, that's
jar.
right.
And
Of course.
chateau also.
We'll make it someday. We have all our lives, right? To continue
And
making recipes.
calçotada.
Oh, that's right, of course. Have you ever heard about calçotada? For our wine club members, last year we had a calçotada. That comes from calçots, which are these very young, wonderful green onions, classic of April. And in the region of Tarragona, they serve them with romesco. And you make a mess of yourself, and they serve them on paper. We had this party last year in the summertime. We had a pool party, and this year we were going to have them, but COVID wins, right? But next year, I promise you a calçotada with romesco.
And Richard Mitra has joined and says that Julie loves our enthusiasm. Oh boy. And a question from Samuel Way, is the Romesco sauce for the vegetables the same as for the seafood and meat?
Well, as I said earlier, there's as many romesco sauces as there are cooks in Catalonia, right? But of course, definitely, I would serve this romesco sauce with meat, grilled fish, anything. It's really very versatile. You can do it with anything. But I want to just
Well, on that note, yeah. I think it's just about time to wrap up. And thank you so much for joining us. The wines we tasted, the 2018 Acero Chardonnay and our 2017 Chardonnay Albariño, which you can get. Go to MARIMAR'S, get the recipes, the wines, and tune in next week. Oh, also our tasting room. We have reopened our tasting room.
Yeah.
So come on by appointment only, outdoor seating only, with food and wine pairings. Yep.
We have to. Yeah.
And next week we'll be making another very typical Catalan dish, the bacalao, salt cod, with a Catalan sauce of pine nuts and raisins.
And tomatoes and onions and all those Catalan things.
Yes,
right?
and that'll be with our La Masia Chardonnay and our Dobles Lias Chardonnay, which we have yet to talk about. So finally, yes.
No, that takes a while. But anyway, we'll try to make it short. We can't, but we will try, okay?
Well, have a wonderful weekend, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much.
Cheers.
We'll see you next Friday. This was so much fun.